everybody, this is Katja Shevchuk from KidLit TV, and we are with Dan Yaccarino today to talk about his new book, Billy and Goat at the State Fair. So, Dan, how are you?
Great. I am well. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes,
this is great.
Of course. And you've been so busy with the conference in LA with STBWI. How do you juggle everything?
I am very organized, and I know when during the day what I do well at certain times of day. So I know that in the morning I'm really good with writing because I'm alert and I have the concentration. And for me, writing requires that. I don't play music. I don't have any other distractions. And so in the morning I'm sort of writing away, and then usually reserved for doing illustration work, having a meeting, or some phone calls or things like that, Skype chat like this. Perhaps. And so for me, illustrating is more of meditative, and I can do that, and then I'll listen to music and listen to podcasts, different things like that. But morning requires flow, and I'm not terribly conscious of the decisions I'm making or things that I'm doing.
Yeah.
I just kind of let it happen. But with writing, I feel like I have to kind of be more on top of it. And so I'll do that, and I'll bounce around from project to project, because at any given moment I'll have right at this moment I've written, but then now I'm doing the illustrations for a picture book called I Am a Story, which is a big book for me, very big book, and it requires a lot of research and a lot of reference material and different things like that. And I'll be working on that, but then in the mornings, I'm actually writing a screenplay right now, and also working on a pilot for an animated television show that I may be producing. So I'll divide all these different things up during the day, and I'm not very good at doing one book or just working on one book. I've never been able to do that. I've always sort of been hopping around all these years that I've been working, and I kind of made it work for me. I created this kind of schedule for myself that I do bounce around. And I do get a lot of things done, but they're all like as if you had all these things lined up, and I push it a little bit, and push that one, and push that one, and push that one, and push that, and then gradually they all start moving ahead. But it's not like I just take one and go, and then that is done. I don't know how people do that. I admire people that have that kind of concentration and that focus, that they can just totally immerse themselves in a project. I'm so envious of that, because I just sort of tend to bounce around a lot.
Well, at least you still get your work done.
I like that, and I made it work for me. So that's how we get all these things done.
Did it take you that long to finish Billy and the Goat at the State Fair?
It took me, once the dummy was approved, I would say typically it takes me about 3 to 4 months to execute all the final illustrations.
Yes.
But that, as far as how long it took to write it and create the dummy and all that, every book is different for me. Some books fly, like just vision inside my head. All I have to do is just, it's sort of just a mere formality to, sort of draw it out. And some books sort of, you have to like chip away at it to, they're not that easily, they don't reveal themselves that easily to you. And some do, and some don't. With Billy and Goat, I can go back to my sketchbooks and find germs of the idea. And I can see, sort of the twists and turns that I was making with it to finally come to this kind of buddy story. Because it involved, originally it involved a couple of other animals, and they were going to the state fair, but the focus was totally different. And through working with my editor, your editor, if you have a very good editor, what they'll do is take what you have and enhance or find the best bits in it, the things that really work. And then they say, clear all this other stuff out. This is really, not working for you. Because with picture books, you have such limited real estate. You only have, let's face it, like maybe 16 spreads to really tell your story. And I squeeze it by using the end pages and the title page to begin my stories often. And so we worked together, and she found the best, because after a while you have no perspective. You're inside can't really figure out what's going on or what's good or what isn't good. And I have some friends that I show, is this any good? After a while, you totally lose your perspective. You have no idea what you're doing anymore. So a good editor will be able to be this kind of objective pair of eyes that look at it and say, okay, these things are working for you. And with any kind of storytelling, and not only, picture books, even board books, chapter books. I've written chapter books. I've written middle grade novel. I've written for television, and I've written screenplays. All of them follow sort of the same principle, where if it's not pushing the story forward or revealing your character, it has to go.
Yes.
And with picture books, it's extra brutal because you don't have that much room.
Yeah.
And the text needs to be minimal because it is really a picture book, and the pictures tell most of the story. So you have to be very, very clear about what's going on in the book. There's not a lot of room for little details or things. That's what the illustrations are for. But when you're writing the text, and even sort of generally the story moving forward visually, it has to be very clear. So it has to either do one of two things: push the story forward, or develop your character, or reveal your character. Mediums like, longer form writing, like middle grade novel, or even young adult novel, which I've never written, or, 120-page screenplay, you do have that opportunity to embellish and put some ornamentation on it. But you better be sure that even all those little things, the little details, the little things, little bits of business and stuff, really move the story forward or define your character.
Yes.
And so I'm very strict about that with my work. And I think, I totally go for brevity, especially with the picture books, because it's the medium that kind of dictates how you're telling the story. But I wrote and illustrated a middle grade novel called Zorgucci Intergalactic Pizza.
Yes.
And it was a pretty big book. And then if you read that, you'll see that I kind of went off little tangents with humor and little bits and little back and forth dialogue and stuff like that. But I always tried to make sure that it either defined the character or moved the story forward. And so that was sort of the most lavish and decadent I've ever been with a project. Details, goofy nonsense, little things. But with book, I'm pretty strict about it.